Greetings, fellow Arrow fans. Well, look at Arrow Season 6 now continues on with Reversal. Black Siren, disguised in a black wig, heads into a bar and quickly attracts the attention of a male patron. The two go out to an alley to make out, where Laurel notices the man is wearing a wedding ring and promises to keep quiet. He asks her to tell him one of her secrets, and she smiles sinisterly. Oliver and Felicity are out at a restaurant for the first date since getting back together. A nearby patron tells Oliver she's going to vote against the anti-vigilante referendum. Also notes the pair make a cute couple. Oliver's saying Felicity is good. She has other things in her life. Just as she gets a text summoning her to the bunker, she's greeted by Diggle and Curtis. The man we met with Jackson and Kelmovich is dead, and Dinah is on the scene. Dinah recognizes death as a result of a sonic scream. However, despite his infidelity, Jackson was wholly unremarkable. Learning she was with Oliver and also has her startup at home, Curtis sends Felicity away. Laurel meets with a mysterious man, Shek, who's grateful for what she provided him with, but points out she left a body for the police to find. Laurel says it's better than a witness. Shek gives her details of her next target. Felicity drives home and calls Oliver, inviting him round. She then finds Alina in the flat. Alina has a bruised face and says Kate and James did it to her and she needs Felicity's help to save the world from him. She thinks he was broken by his months being tortured by Argus and is planning a project that will wipe out at least 4% of the world's population. Felicity ignores a call from Curtis about Laurel killing again. She and Elena work out they can hack James's system using the equipment at Helix, but they'll need a ghost modem drive. As they're about to leave, Oliver has an answer to Felicity's invite. He isn't happy about what she's doing, especially without backup from either him or the team, but lets her go. Diggle, Dinah, and Curtis review the latest victim, Veronica Medina, who was even more remarkable. Renee reports he has been checking poll results with Lance, and 70% of the city are against the act. Curtis left to work out a tech solution in Felicity's absence and finds who would track Laurel's sonic scream. Laurel approaches the next target, Jenny. Detecting her scream, Green Arrow, Wild Duck, Mr. Terrific, and Black Canary head down there. Carrie finds Jenny dead and then encounters Laurel. They exchange scream blasts before Laurel flees. Lucy and Alina go to a rave club where Alina knows a technology seller known as Amnesiac operates. They approach a bouncer, Chains. As you can see, when Chains has two men drag them into the office. A masked figure watches. The two women meet with the troubled interest Amnesiac, who suspects they are government agents. At that point, the masked man bursts in, fighting with Chains, and quickly takes him down. The other thugs in Amnesiac, with Alina also being knocked out in the fracas. The man reveals himself to Felicity as Oliver. She is furious that he broke up the deal and risked exposure, so we can Alina to safety while she searches for what they need. Dinah reports that 3 victims all had their fingerprints taken. Digger realizes their apparently unremarkable lives to recover for something. They tries to call Felicity for help, but she and Alina are just breaking into Helix, and Felicity gives him a brief recap of the situation with James. Curtis traces where the Sonic Scream has been used recently and finds a probable base, pulling recent CCTV footage of Laurel. Dougal recognizes one of the men with her and realizes Felicity is in trouble. Felicity and Alina's work is ended by Black Siren destroying their computers. She is accompanied by a group of gunmen led by Shek and James, who tries Alina for her betrayal. He orders Shek to kill them both. An arrow knocks the gun from Shek's hand as Green Arrow, Black Canary, Wild Dog, and Terrific take on the gunmen, the Green Arrow fighting Black Siren at one point. Felicity tries to get Alina to safety. At the end, the heroes are left standing, but Alina has been shot. Having got Alina to the hospital, Felicity joins the others at the bunker. She and Curtis work out that the 3 victims were members of the International Domain Name Department, each of them being managers of a section of the Internet. Together, they could get access to the vault where the Internet is controlled from. Anyone destroyed it would shut down the Internet, meaning water and power supply and control of planes and trains. Felicity sets up a search to find the vault location, and Diggle sends her home. Felicity is visited by Oliver, and does his best to reassure her about James, saying he always had her support and she'd tell him to deal with things in the present. She gets a call saying they found the vault. Black Siren kills a security guard before she, James, and Shek use the fingerprints to access the vault. James reminds Black Siren he rescued her from Lian Yu. Green Arrow, Wild Dog, Felicity, Black Canary, and Terrific arrive on the scene and exchange fire with Shek and the gunmen. Felicity notes James has implanted a virus that will crash the place in 6 minutes. James locks the system, meaning Felicity will need to get to the processor room and sends Black Siren to help keep the heroes occupied. As the group tries to escort Felicity, Oliver contacts over the bunker. Declaring himself Overwatch, he guides Felicity to the processor room and manages to seal her in there. Greenhorn fires a crossbow bolt at Black Siren, who disintegrates it with a scream. She ends the battle by bringing an overhead piece of equipment down, with Wild Dog pulling him out of the way. Felicity manages to access the system and restore everything. Back at the bunker, Dickel comments on Oliver's temporary new role. Oliver declares they need to find out why James and Laurel teamed up, before remembering he's not in charge anymore. He and Felicity leave the others to it. Felicity visits Alina Hospital and offers her a job at the startup when she's recovered. Alina suggests finding a way to mass produce the implant that lets Felicity walk. Felicity suggests naming the company Helix Dynamics. Laurel, James, and Shek are at an airfield. James gives Laurel a piece of equipment that will mask her in the future. He explains his real objective wasn't to destroy the vault, but to get Felicity to disable the firewall around it, which let him upload a piece of code. Oliver and Felicity finally get back to their flat for a passionate reunion, but they're interrupted by a call for Oliver. It's Slade Wilson, and he needs Oliver's help. Dun dun dun! So anyway, let's take a look at some trivia surrounding this episode. Black Siren's sonic scream can be heard in the opening title card sequence. According to showrunner Wendy Miracle in the Inside Arrow featurette, the town offers Oliver and Felicity switching roles, where the latter now takes on the role of being a field operative while receiving help from the former. Laurel's short redhead wig that she uses as a disguise features a nod, or rather reversal, to Black Canary's appearance in the comics prior to dyeing her hair dark blonde. Dinah Lawrence used to wear a long blonde wig to hide from her enemies. When Laura introduced herself to Jenny Johnson, she uses the name Dinah. Oliver and Felicity mentioned their first date 3 years ago, referencing the events of the Calm. When commenting about Black Siren's style of murder and seduction of victims, Curtis states that Black Siren turned Black Widow. This references the superheroine Black Widow from Marvel Comics, who was an operative of S.H.I.E.L.D. Curtis is also referencing the mating behavior of Black Widow's spiders. While he and Felicity are talking about their own love lives, Curtis mentioned Upswips. Ray Palmer used to work for the dating app in the DC Legends of Tomorrow episode, Rubicon. Curtis refers to films Planes, Trains, and Automobiles when he said that the air controls planes, trains, and automobiles. This first episode introduced Caden James on screen. As he appeared unseen in Dangerous Liaisons. So far, I think this episode is pretty interesting, and it is nice to see Oliver and Felicity do a little switcheroo of what they normally do on the team. So yeah. So overall, I give Reversal 4 arrowheads out of 5. When in 2 minutes we feel the next episode, Deathstroke returns. So until then, in the words of Oliver Queen, you have failed this city.